Hi guys, welcome to the CATWay. So in this video, we are going to solve our daily set. And before we begin, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Now moving on to the question that we have. So it says that the figure given below shows the plan of a housing complex which has 8 houses P1 to P8. Now each house is owned by a different person among A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H, not necessarily in the same order. Now the houses are of two types, bungalows and quarters. Now all the bungalows are identical. Similarly, all the quarters are identical. Take care. P3, P6, P8 are bungalows that we can see from the size of it, and each of them is owned by a different officer, right? Now, each quarter is owned by a different servant. Okay. Now, two people are called neighbors if the house share a common wall. Example, the one who lives in P1 is a neighbor of the people who live in P2 and P6, right? So it's not necessary to share the entire wall. Okay, just even if like P1 is not sharing the entire, P6 ki wall is this much, but P1 is only sharing up till here, but still he will be considered a neighbor. Okay. So now this thing about neighbors has been given, and if you read the statement, the first one is that the number of neighbors of Adi is equal to number of neighbors of Kara, right? So the best thing that we can do is we should first try and identify the number of neighbors that different houses have, right? So what do we find is that P1 is equal to P5 and that is equal to 2 neighbors. We find that P2 is equal to P4 is equal to P7 and this is in total 3 neighbors. Okay. And then we have P6 and P8 who have 4 neighbors each, and then we have a P3 who has 5 neighbors. Okay. Chalo. So now what we know is that the number of neighbors of Adi is equal to number of neighbors of Kara, right? So that means Adi cannot be living in P3, that is clear. So Adi has to live either in P6 and P8, and in that case, it will be Kara who will be living in the other one of P6 and P8. But what we see is that Fiza lives in P8. So Adi and Kara cannot have their equal number of neighbors over here, right? So can Adi and Kara have the equal number of neighbors over here? Let's see. Okay. Chalo, let's make the table ourselves. Okay, let's make our chart for ourselves. Okay, so this is the small house, then again a big house. Okay, so basically this is what we have. Okay, now let's say Adi and Kara. Acha, one thing that we have been given is that Fiza lives in P8, right? Fiza lives in P8. Okay, so Fiza is living in P8. Now we were considering Adi and Fiza to be in P1 and P5. Now Adi cannot be in P5 because Adi is not a neighbor of Fiza, right? So Adi will have to occupy over here and Kara will have to come over here, right? Kara will have to come over here. Acha, then it says that Diya is the neighbor of both Adi and Fiza. Okay, let's say Diya comes over here. She is a neighbor of Fiza but not of Adi. Here also she is not a neighbor of, sorry, here also she is a neighbor of Fiza but not a neighbor of Adi. Here as well the same thing is happening. Here she is a neighbor of Adi but not of Fiza, and here also the same thing is happening. That means A and C cannot occupy these positions, right? A and C cannot occupy these positions. So that means A and C are going to occupy one among these positions, right? These people are going to occupy one among these positions. Okay. Chalo, okay. Now between P2, P4 and P7, okay. So if you see P4 and P7, P4 and P7 mein Adi is going to become a neighbor of Fiza, but that's not happening, right? So Adi cannot have P4 or P7. So the only possibility for Adi is to go into this bungalow, right? The only possibility for Adi is to go into this bungalow. Okay. Chalo. Acha. If P2 is Adi, then either one of P4 or P7 is going to be Kara, right? One of P4 or P7 is going to be Kara. Okay. Chalo, let's move ahead. Acha. It's been said that Diya is a neighbor of both Adi and Fiza. Okay. Diya is a neighbor of both Adi and Fiza. So either, see, if someone has to be a neighbor of both Adi and Fiza, so Diya cannot come over here. Diya cannot come over here. Diya cannot come over here because again she is not a neighbor of Adi. Diya cannot come over here and Diya cannot come over here. So the only possibility that Diya has is this position, right? The only possibility that Diya has is this position, and only in that case, Diya is going to be a neighbor of both Adi and Fiza. Now, one thing is clear that Emma is also an officer. Now, two officers we know, D and F, because they are living in bungalows. So the third officer, Emma, is definitely going to fill up this place and she will be living over here. Okay, she will be living over here. Chalo. Next, what do we have is, guys, you have a B and H. Okay, so B and H, about them, what we know is that they are not neighbors. Okay, so B and H are not neighbors. Okay. Acha. We know that Kara is going to occupy one of these positions, right? Kara is going to occupy one of these positions, right? And Gauri, if you talk about, she does not live in P7. Okay, Gauri, if you talk about, she is not living in P7. So Gauri cannot come over here, right? Gauri cannot come over here. Okay, chalo, let's make cases then. Okay, let's make cases. Okay, okay. So let's say Kara comes over here. Okay, let's say Kara comes over here. Okay. So now for B and H to not to be neighbors of each other, one of them will go over here and one of them will come over here or in any of the places, right? Any place, sorry, B and H. It said, right? B and H. Okay. So this has been given to us. Okay. So let's say this is the case. And in that case, G will be living over here, right? G will be living over here. Okay. Now let us verify. So MI is an officer and is acha. MI is an officer and is a neighbor of Gauri. Okay, so what we have been given is that Emma is an officer and she is a neighbor of Gauri. So Gauri has only two possibilities, that are these two. Because P7 is not possible for Gauri, so Gauri is going to occupy this position, right? Now what we can say is that between B and H, okay, between B and H, you see that Kara has only these two possibilities. So if Kara comes over here, B and H will occupy these positions, but they are not the neighbors. So this is not possible, right? This is not possible. So Kara has only one position, this, and B and H will occupy it in any order. B and H will occupy in any order. Now we are done with the set. We can move towards the questions. So who lives in P7? So we are not sure. Hence the correct answer is option number D, cannot be determined. Then how many neighbors does Adi have? So Adi lives in P2 and P2 has 3 neighbors. So option number B. Then who among the following is definitely not a neighbor of Diya? So definitely not a neighbor of Diya. You see that it could be B, it could be H, it could be C, A, E and F. The only person who is definitely not a neighbor of Diya is G. That is Gauri, option number A. So this was a easy set, guys, and hope you have understood the set well. Thanks for watching the video.